All right, up next we have Sophie from Studio Mocha that is going to present to us CitaDrill. Sophie, come on up. Welcome to the stage. Awesome, Sophie. You didn't bring a hat of a cat?
No, I wanted to put a
hat?
drill on my arm and start going crazy, but I couldn't. So
Awesome.
Perfect.
All right, are you ready to give us the pitch?
I believe so.
All right, let's dive in.
Perfect. Bonsoir, je m'appelle Sophie, je suis scénariste sur le jeu et ça me fait grand plaisir de vous présenter CitaDrill, a roguelike city builder in motion. Basically, because this is a roguelike, you're generally going to start a run by choosing your loadout. This is very important because it impacts the way you're going to play the game. You can choose between various captains for your drill with different abilities, the base for the drill, and of course your weapon. And before you descend, you're going to want to name your drill for posterity reasons before you embark. Now, the goal of the game is an ambitious one. You have to make it to the planet's core to defeat the entity that resides there. If this sounds difficult, that's because it is. And you're going to need a nice mixture of strategy and luck combined to make it all the way down there. Now, this is your CitaDrill, and you see on screen now. You're going to want to get this thing moving towards a workshop ASAP because you're going to want to be building different buildings inside the city on the drill's back in order to improve it and give it new abilities and functions. Using the blueprints that you'll find a little bit at random as you go through the game and go through different events that you find there. We've just assigned some workers to some of the modules on the left, one to the scanner to increase the range of vision, and the other one to the navigation module in order to get the drill moving. You might see tiles disappearing as the drill is in motion. Those are being, I almost said captured, but they're being stored so that you can use them later to build new things and also complete projects that you might see on the right-hand side of the screen. Enemies are not the only thing you're going to have to watch out for as you venture forth in the deep. Right now you might see a green tinge on the left-hand side of the screen. That is radiation and is one of a few status effects to keep your eye on as you play. The negative debuffs will not kill you instantly, but if you do not handle them, then that will spell your demise, so be careful. We've got cold, pressure, radiation, and smog to contend with in the game, and each have a unique set of debuffs that are quite interesting. We seem to have come across a narrative event in the game. These are peppered a little bit throughout the maps for you to discover and to give more context to the world that you are currently in. Essentially, the choices that you make in these events are rather interesting because they can come out to positive or negative outcomes and either give you resources, maybe new characters to discover, all sorts of things like that, or they can cause harm or you might lose workers. The possibilities are rather vast. But in this case, we decided to hear out the cultists that we are currently visiting to see if we might build some positive relations and get something nice out of that. And thankfully, that happened. We got some monster parts, which is a rarer resource, not easy to mine those, that you can then spend at shops that you'll discover throughout the world. But of course, we're trying to get to that workshop, so we're going to get moving again. The way that you can boost certain systems is by assigning more workers to them. And right now, we need our weapons to be hot. We're going to reassign a worker from the scanner to the weapon system. That does reduce the range of vision, but we really need that right now. The drill head itself is actually a weapon as well. So if you want to be strategic about it, you can point it at the incoming threat, just like we did there, and essentially take him out by using the tick damage of the drill head. So there are many different ways that you can choose to deal with threats. You can try to outrun them. You can try to defend yourself by building more improvements of that nature. There are a lot of different ways to strategize in the game. We just found the workshop, thankfully, and we're about to enter what I find this really cool. We're going to flip into the top-down city view, a really fun aspect of the game, and this is where a lot of the strategy comes into play. You have to watch out when you're placing buildings. They have interdependencies of various sorts. You'll get more blueprints, like I said earlier, as you play, and when you place new buildings, you have to watch out for the smog status effect that will build up and, again, cause negative effects that will impact the efficacy, there you go, of the drill. So you can build things like trees or other types of buildings that might use this particular status effect in a variety of ways to offset that. Now, each run's fairly long, so we're skipping to the end of a biome. You generally have to go through 3 of those before you get to the core of the planet. And at the end of the biome here, we have a slightly different loadout for our drill. We've got different modules, more of them. We got more projects, some more workers at this point, and more stress. Because at the end of a biome, that's where you find its mini-boss. So you can choose one of 2 ways to confront this. You can either see if you got the the specs to outrun this thing or defend yourself as you try to skedaddle. Or you can try your metal and see if you can take it out with the weapons that you have on board and different systems such as those. Right now, we're in a biome that reduces our visibility. So even though we got our scanner pretty pushed forward, we really don't have much we can see. We're trying to see if we can get the drop on this thing before it gets the drop on us. And unfortunately, that doesn't seem to have happened this time. So test your metal if you wish in CitaDrill. The demo will be coming sometime this year. We're going to be announcing that as soon as we have that information on our socials and also on our Discord. And please go wishlist us on Steam. We're really excited to be part of the Québec DemoNights.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Sophie. Amazing, amazing.
Perfect.
Now, you didn't mention too much about the cats.
Yes,
like it seems a
course.
bit gratuitous to be like what's the whole cats piece
What's
of
the whole cats thing? Well, in a game that's based on exploration, curiosity is king. And what creature embodies curiosity more and its perils than cats?
Okay.
But also, in all seriousness, Studio Mocha, our wonderful mascot, is the cat of our co-founder and is a very lovely, fluffy tortie. And most of the crew of the studio also own a feline companion of some variety, if not more. So TLDR, we're all cat people.
Okay, there you go. Okay, wonderful. Now, the game really does give me kind of Loop Hero vibes, right? That one-bit aesthetic. I mean, how do you overcome some of the limitations of only working in kind of one bit, that very limited color palette and resolution?
Fair enough. Well, sometimes I think less is more, right? And what's beautiful about that is that you're able to make very precise decisions about what things you want to add more detail to and more emphasis with, and leave. One bit really allows you to leave certain things a little bit more spare, right? And then you're really able to direct the player's attention to the things that matter most. In our case, obviously, we got a pretty elaborate UI going on, and our drill itself is also really a focal point, and the enemies too. So the fact that we have a lot more sort of blank, not blank space exactly, but very minimal space with the tiles and whatnot. We did a lot of tests initially, and it was quite interesting to see that the more noise we had on screen, the more it would sort of be a bit of a nuisance to figuring out what was the key focus in the frame, right? And you really want to make sure that you're directing players to what is the most important. So your drill, you know, the threats that are coming at you. And it also, I think, kind of gives a bit of a creepy vibe, right? And we do have a bit of an eldritch aesthetic and thematic going on through the game as well for you to discover.
Well, and I imagine also there's kind of an expectation, like where you see this kind of like one-bit graphics, it's like, oh, this is maybe a simpler game, but in fact, there's a lot of depth and many systems. And
yeah, it's almost a direct contrast to the art style. Simpler art style, deeper gameplay.
well, you get
So
to
it's kind of a
focus.
fun, yeah, exactly. It's a fun pairing. We do get a lot of really lovely feedback from players too at different play tests and events. They tend to really point out the art style as being a strong draw.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for sharing CitaDrill with us, and best of luck with the demo coming up.
Thank you so
Awesome.
much.
Thank you so much, Sophie.
Grazie mille.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Amazing.